to today's discussion session. I hope everyone is doing great. Let me briefly introduce myself. This is Arzu and I'm part of the Sisterhood Management team. I serve there as a program manager. Sisterhood is the only community in Jakarta that runs by women for women. In Sisterhood, we provide educational, vocational, and advocacy classes for refugee women. Also, I am your discussion moderator for today. Our today's discussion is about community-based approach to refugee empowerment. For your information, SUAKA conducted 3 other sessions before. To explain the background of RISE discussion series, or previously known as the Refugee Legal Webinar Series, is a series of discussion aimed at providing empowerment related to legal and human rights information directly to refugees in Indonesia. Previously, it was conducted between 2020 and 2021 with topics related to law, human rights, and current issues in the dynamics of the refugee community in Indonesia. Our previous topic, such as marriage law in Indonesia, how to conduct safe demonstration and vaccination for refugees, have attracted a lot of interest from the refugee community as well as local communities in Indonesia. This series of webinar is conducted online through the Zoom and YouTube platform in response to the increasing global pandemic situation. This year, SUAKA wants to continue this series of discussions with a wider range of topics related to law, human rights, policy advocacy, and empowering refugees in Indonesia. Our first episode of the series that took place in February was regarding freedom of expression in a time of pandemic. Then in the second episode, SUAKA discussed gender equality and women's rights, considering that gender equality and women's rights also element inherent in refugees. As a continuation of the series of discussion, SUAKA then also discussed topics related to digital security and data privacy. In this fourth episode of the discussion, SUAKA decided to discuss regarding community-based approach on the refugee empowerment. This topic was chosen based on several factors. First, while refugee community in Indonesia has been actively initiated and organized refugee-led organization within their community. However, not all refugees are well aware regarding the importance of those initiatives to their empowerment. SUAKA hope that this forum will increase their awareness and resulted in an increased number of refugees being involved on any organization in Indonesia. Second, the unclarity regarding the movement of refugees to the third countries has left a room of improvement for refugee communities to be empowered and to increase their personal developments while residing in Indonesia as a transit country. Since there are many limitations of policies and lack of awareness that provide protection of basic rights of refugees, therefore, it is important for SUAKA as a civil society organization to provide capacity and knowledge development regarding this matter to fill the gap left by these issues. Third, this topic is also a response to social dynamics that are increasingly closely related to the everyday life of refugee communities. Therefore, it is again important for SUAKA to discuss topics that are relevant in the wider community at this time. Here we have 2 speakers, Mr. Sholeh Al-Ghifari from LBH Jakarta and Mr. Abdul Khaliq from the Help Learning Center. Later, they will talk more in detail. We also have Ms. Atika Yonita, chairperson of SUAKA. At the end, we will have 30 minutes Q&A section. Please prepare your questions. Later, you can ask them all in Q&A section. As all being said, now I pass the mic to SUAKA's representative, Ms. Atika Yonita. She will talk more about SUAKA, the SUAKA team, and what are they doing. Ms. Atika, the mic is yours now.
Thank you, Sister Areza. Sorry for if the my voice or my sound is not good because that is the rainy in in my home. So yeah, I've got the terrible signal, I think. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are doing well today. So yeah, I'm Atika Yuanita. I'm a chairperson of SUAKA, and first of all, I will to thank for the resource person. Hi, Gifar from Jakarta Legal Aid Institute, and brother Abdul Halik from Help for Refugee. And thanks also to the moderator, Sister Arezo, who will guide the RISE event this time. And also to the committee who have prepared this the organization of this event. And as already mentioned by Sister Arezo, this is the fourth RISE activity in this year. So the RISE with the term community-based approach on the refugee empowerment, we consider that is the important to raise this term because refugees through their communities must be empowered so that they can fight for their rights cumulatively and become stronger, because what we know is that the fulfillment of the rights of refugees in Indonesia is still far from good, still hampered and even difficult to access. So I hope that this RISE activity can give us an understanding of the importance of empowering the refugee community in particular, and more people who understand and are involved and active involved for helping refugees in Indonesia. So I hope today activities go well, and I hereby declare opening the RISE event today. So thank you and enjoy this session. Thank you, Sister Arizo.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Atika, for introducing yourself and your team to the participants. And now we are moving to the next part. For this section, I would like to invite and pass the mic to our first speaker, Mr. Shale. The mic is yours. Please go ahead.
Okay. Is my voice well? Do you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Sister Arezo and Miss Atika, for inviting me to these discussions. I'm very attracted by the topic. This is one of the main focus of our organizations at LBH Jakarta is to organize people, and that's intersects with the empowerment process. My name is Saleh Al-Ghifari. You can call me Gifar. I'm head of community organizing at Jakarta Legal Aid Institute. I hope everyone can engage in these discussions, and I just want to deliver my little bit like my presentations. Can I share my screen, Sister Arezo?
Yeah, sure. Just a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Anybody see it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I read the topic that's it's about a community-based approach on the refugee empowerment. So I want to share that in LBH Jakarta, LBH Jakarta is Legal Aids Institute. We provide legal aids to poor people, marginalized and vulnerable in Jakarta. And we base our legal aid with the assumption that the injustice that happened to the justice seeker, to our clients, to the member of society that report the experience and what they're having, it's because of the imbalance of the power of the structure, and therefore it makes some or maybe majority of the group of people is left behind, and we call it structural legal aid. So one of the core element of the structural legal aid in my organization is through legal aid is to not only to handle the case, not only to propose for the change to the policy and so on, but also to empower the victims, also to empower the groups of poor people, marginalized people, and vulnerable, so that they can use the law, they can utilize that injustice situation that happened to them to become change, to advocate for change, so that their situations become better. Okay, I want to go to the what is community empowerment. Okay, I'm sorry, my screen a little bit. Can you still see it? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The community empowerment is the process to enable and communities to increase control over their life. For example, what we're facing every day at my office, that people being left behind, that they experience injustice, is because they cannot control over their life. The member of the groups, for example, I now work with the farmer outside the border of the Jakarta. They been facing now the forced evictions because they cannot control their land, so they live at the land that now facing dispute with the government corporates agency that's in the Kebun Sayur place in Jakarta Timur, and that they cannot now build another house there and invite or requesting the government to build the roads and other facility, just because they're not have control over the status of the lands. So we LBH Jakarta, my organizations, does the empowerment in the Kebun Sayur to telling them to educate, to discuss together the rights of the citizens, the rights of the Jakarta citizens, and how they can advocate for the land. What is the rights written in the constitutions, in the legislative act, and so on. That's the empowerment process that we're doing there. And the first most important thing of community empowerment is to educate, and because the knowledge of the individual that having the injustice, discriminations, or oppressions, it's because they experience unequal access and opportunity for them to be able to make themselves capable and competent to access the opportunity, and maybe in the legal process to be represented and to be heard, is they have to know first the knowledge, the sort of informations around the problem, and after that they can seek to go with the process. And so that's why the community empowerment is important at my office, not only to just like winning the case, providing the legal aid, but also to empower those who are affected by the injustice, discrimination, and so on. So we hope that we can prevent the situations in the future. Okay, next. So this is the principles and common grounds of the empowerment. Empowerment is a collaborative process with the people that working as together as a partner. The empowering process views that society system as competent and capable. So we put the system, the structure that we is a capable thing, so we can rely on it, so we can access it, and to be able to access it with the competence. The assumptions is the mindset is the competence is acquired or refines through the experience affirming efficacy, not the only the circumstance. So we determine ourselves that so we can make our competence, so we can refine it, not just be like perceiving it as given situations. And people must participate in their empowerment. So everybody, the member, maybe in the refugee community, the everyone as an individual member of the community with the same maybe background, interest, and the maybe sexual and gender or orientations, the religious views, and so on, must participate in the community, so that the empowerment process will become the dynamic and synergistic, ever-changing, and evolutionary. That's because all of the member of the groups involved. So we have to think that the process is always dynamic. So maybe in the examples that one of the case that community that represents by our office, my office in Jakarta, is the fisher that facing also discriminations to access the their islands to be productive tourism sites, and they use their capacity to invite tourists there, but not with the like official governmental process. They empower themselves with the customary that they have. They use their land, because not only they can gain the economic advantage from the fishing, but also by the tourism. But the situations, in this Jakarta, the law enforcement agency start criminalizing them, because they process their islands with the beauty, the beach, and so on, only by themselves, not reporting to the government and so on. In Indonesia's islands and the coastlines legislative acts, it can be done, but only because that in the Pari Islands they're facing big corporations. So the big corporations, we the fishermen suspect that they bribe the law enforcement agency. So that's, and now they after the legal empowerment process, they learning about the law. They're learning about what can they access in the structure and the mechanisms and the legal remedy. Now they can secure their land with the suspense of the project that want to carry out by the big corporations. So that's the after the legal empowerment, after the community empowerments there, they know having more access to their land. And next, yeah, for those who will involved in the community empowerment work, the empowerment work is not a heroism. It's not a heroic work. It's the work that rely on so much individual, all of the member of the community, and the organizer, or maybe the initiator of the power empowerment process of the community cannot tell themselves as a hero of the empowerment process. And in the empowerment process, we at my organizations, we cannot see it as a financial motivations, but we do it for the voluntary, for sharing the knowledge among the individual member of the community. And it cannot be bureaucratic, so we have to be flexible with all the member, all the people that affected by the problems, the injustices, and so we can share our knowledge and our interests together more flexibly. And we have to be committed and cannot like treat it as just like hobby or something, because the process will took so long and need a commit member of the society. And empowerment is not a personal project that we can claim to be our own. It's the collective project. It's the all of the member of the groups projects. So everyone can take credits to their own. Not only a single person, but the community. The whether we have achievement, whether we win, whether we success or not, or fail, it cannot be told by the only one individual. It should be measured by the all of the community. And if there's success in the empowerment process, it's the success of the all of community. Maybe in the context of refugee, it will be success of all of the refugee in maybe specific territorial or specific background, or all of them if the community is big enough. Next, now the role of a community, if we already form the community, not necessarily have to be the formal as organizations, but maybe the community of a refugee from Rohingya or from the Afghanistan and so on. And I believe the refugees here maybe already some of you already joined the community or maybe organizations. The first important role is to educate the member. So the questions, the issues that have problems in the within the groups will be solved. And to support organizing interactions and collaborations among members, and cultivate by assisting group to start and sustain the learning, and encourage and then integrates. So that's the role, like the basic role and of the community in the empowerment. And also with the community we can connect people. Maybe we have we never meet as like if one person that we can meet in the community before, but with the community we can connect people and provide a shared context, so we can communicate our informations, personal experience, so we can build the understanding and the insights, sharing the problem, so we will find the common ground and maybe next to the solution or strategic plan how to deal with it. And with the empowerments, we can enable dialogues and stimulate learning too. And also, this is like the picture. We always show the members of the society that report case to our office. So the big fish is the problems, or maybe the actor, the perpetrator. The small fish that getting hit is the victims. If we combine together, we'll become a community and become collective with the same visions, with the same like level of knowledge, and with the roles that we can organize. Maybe we can control the to we can take power to control over the problems, so we can achieve the justice, so we can achieve our rights. And I believe now I been seeing the more and more refugees getting empowered and organizing the demonstrations, the maybe the media briefing and so on. And that's maybe we hope in the future the problems that refugees having will be more and more heard, and will be more and more getting addressed, and the policy that we need will be changed. And this is, as I mentioned before, with the empowerment process in the legal empowerment cycle, as for the example, with the individual problems that maybe individual member of the group of the community having, with the community we can advocate it for the structural change by the experience of the grassroots. So with in Jakarta, in LBH Jakarta, we connect all of the maybe for the victims of torture, the victims of forced evictions, and we investigate what is wrong with the policy, what is wrong with the law, and and what is the things that are not in the knowledge of the victims. And with the combinations of the organizings and the legal aid and the advocates for policy process, that we can achieve a systemic change to shape the law. For example, we advocate for the erase of the over control of the police in the examination process. So we file a judicial review to the constitutional court, and then after that the policy is changing. That's because that arise from so much torture case getting reported to our office, and there's no control over the police from the prosecutor. And with the victims, we connect all the member of the individual that having the same problems, and we address the policy and the law that sort of injustice. And here the example of community that we conduct empowerment with through the discussions, with mobilizing, and also with the creative actions. And this is one of the example of community of human rights victims, past human rights victims that facing impunity. There's no justice for them till now. They organize themselves in the they call it a victims network for justice and solidarity. And this is Bu Sumarsi. She found with colleagues this JSKK, the Victims Alliance, and now keep doing the demonstration, like the protest in front of presidential palace to end impunity for the human rights, past human rights violations. And this has become spread everywhere. One first only in Jakarta, now in maybe around 30 cities in Indonesia, and the youth and the other victims join every Thursday with the protest. And also this is the one of the LBH community that we work with. This is the woman from Kendeng. They face the environmental rights violations, and first also facing the evictions of their village and their cultivating land, and they bring themselves together, connect with the alliance of people that care about Kendeng. So they educate people about the case. They could educate like the media and protesting also in front of the public place. And this is one of the way they engage with the community and activates the community to do something that addressing problem. They take a picture that their land is very cultivated. Okay, I think that's the community empowerment that I can share. Most of is what we do in Legal Aid Institute. So maybe it can be applied to the refugee community, so that the individual can connect with the other individual and using the same interests and addressing the same problems and organizing ourselves to do more for change. Thank you, Sister Arazi. I think that's from me now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Shale, for a very great presentation. Thanks for explaining about the community empowerment, how to empower the marginalized community, role of community in the refugee empowerment by sharing this information. Your work in LBH Jakarta, I believe everybody got a lot from this, and if any participants have any question from Mr. Shale, please write it down in the chat box, or you can note them down. Later you can ask in the QA section. For now, I am inviting our second speaker, Mr. Abdul Khaliq. The mic is yours. Please feel free to start.
Thank you, Ms. Arazu. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Arazu. Thank you, SUAKA, for giving me the chance to be here on behalf of Refugee and share my thoughts. Before that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Abdul Khaliq, and I'm currently working. I'm currently a center manager of Help for Refugees. Help for Refugees is an organization in Jakarta. Let me share my screen, please. Just a moment. Help for Refugees is a refugee-led organization, actually, or a learning center in Jakarta. So we provide education for refugee kids and also for the adults. And Help has been established since 2017, and we have students from 12 countries, actually. Okay, that's about Help. And as I said, I'm Abdul Khaliq, and I'm the center manager right now. But before joining Help, I used to work with different organizations such as JRS Indonesia. And also, I was elected as a refugee representative for year 2020. And today's discussion about the community-based approach on community empowerment. Actually, I have prepared a slide or a presentation I would like to share, and then we will briefly talk about it. And I hope that there are points that clarify some or most of the things for everyone who has joined us. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
yes, we can see you.
Okay, thank you. Actually, Gifar talked about the community empowerment, but I would really like to focus on refugee community empowerment. which could be totally another case if we compare. So as an introduction, I would like to start with definition for what the refugee community empowerment could be. According to me, refugee community empowerment is one of the ways to give them strength to hold their lives together while living in a limbo, or not being able to have all the rights and facilities as a normal citizen of a country does. I'm sure most of you are aware of the limits every refugee faces in every country, from the basic life rights to some of the most important things which refugees cannot even think about or get close to. But when we compare the refugee community to a local community, it's totally different. So there are a lot of things that local communities can get to or reach, but the refugee communities, they cannot. So I totally solely talk about refugee community empowerment. Actually, empowering refugees is giving them the strength to be more reliable and effective in their daily life. Either it is solving their daily life issues, taking real life decisions, being more effective in the community, and so on. Refugees might not be able to do all the things right now, or at least some of them, but once empowered and recognized, I'm confident the refugee lives would be much better as compared to now. I will go very briefly to not take a lot of time. If refugees are empowered, equal or close to the local people here, then we would not have to worry to this stage that we are right now. Either it is cultural differences or formal way of living life. There are a lot of things refugees and local communities share together, such as living in the same area. In fact, if one of the neighbors has a problem, like naturally it will impact or have a little impact on the others living in the same area. So if we think it deeply, so anything that would impact the refugee community living in Jakarta and surrounding, I believe that could have a little impact on the local communities as well. So if we empower the refugees or the refugee community, so we could solve or a little or minimize those solved problems for the local communities as well. And how we can empower refugees are empowered if they better understand the legal and social context in which they live. Better and more informed choices are made by refugees if they have accurate and transparent information on the range of protection services offered and also options of their legal status and future solutions, including work and studies. This will not only be useful while they are living the life of refugee, but also in the later stages of their life, since they will be more aware socially and also legally, and their life could be much more smooth. We'll move to the next one. Here I have a little, I could say a surprise for everyone. Actually, we are using the word empowerment or empower, but I just want to play with it. So I just changed the word empower to empower or empower. So let's change how we use the term empowerment. Empowerment is not something you can provide to someone else. That is something that we should think about. If we focus on giving power to someone, we reinforce an unequal relationship. It assumes that refugees are powerless, which we are not. In reality, real empowerment is always to be found within the people and communities. It is implicit, right? I hope, I believe most of you would agree with that, and if not, also, it does not matter. I could say, because I'm just playing with it, or I'm just using this term for my presentation. But later on, you could use the same word as empowerment, or empowerment. It's up to you. So let's consider using the phrase empower, or at least question the power dynamic behind the empowerment. I hope it's clear for you all. Okay. So as I told you, I will use the word empowerment rather than empowerment. So here is the first one. What does refugee empowerment mean? Refugee empowerment means to take control back. Why? Because if you see right now, most of the refugees, or all the refugees, are solely dependent on organizations such as UNHCR and other organizations working with them. And all the decisions about refugees are made by those organizations. Being totally in control of the refugee lives, which most of the time proves to be not accurate or effective. In fact, they cannot make the right decisions most of the times. By empowering the refugees, we can take the control back, not necessarily total control, but most of it. In that sense, we could be more effective in the choices of our lives, and also in the future. Things could turn out way better compared to now, when refugees have no control over the life-changing decisions. This has always been one of the thoughts in my mind, that most of life-changing decisions are made when it comes to refugees. Most of the life-changing decisions are made by the UNHCR or other organizations in any sort of way, which I believe could not be effective because they don't know what the refugees are going through. So if someone has the experience of being a refugee, I believe that person could make better choices rather than someone from UNHCR who has never experienced being a refugee. Next will be to be more independent. Refugees will be more independent if we refugee are empowered. So once the refugee could take the control of their lives, they will be more independent, and their lives would be way more different in a positive way, which could ease the situation for them. At some point, I don't agree with UNHCR or organizations working to empower refugees, because they can provide services that is useful, but in my opinion, they assume refugees are somehow subordinate to others or to other people and their organizations, rather than the ones making decisions about the projects and the priorities. If we actually reach to that stage, then I would say that refugees are empowered, because right now it feels like we are just subordinate to be there, but we are not, or refugees are not the ones who are actually empowered. By empower, I mean that refugees cannot take the decisions, or at least the decisions which actually matters. And the next point would be to initiate things themselves. So refugees could initiate things once we take the control, and also once we are independent, we could initiate things ourselves. By initiating things ourselves also gives us a sense of responsibility to work and improve the community and all the available services within the community. This could help mobilize the entire refugee community to work together to make things better and more efficient. The next point would be to have a sense of acceptance by the local communities. This is one thing I believe mostly the refugees have experienced. Most of the time, there is no real connection between the refugees and the local community. It's because they are left out. By they, here I mean refugees are left out on our own. limiting them in every other way possible, which could also cause troubles among the refugee community, resulting tensions in the local communities as well, which could be a daily life or a daily stumble for the locals. By empowering refugees and involving them in the community, we can actually avoid this sort of unwanted problems, which could make the relation between refugees and locals way better, friendly and caring towards each other, which then will make the life a lot easier for refugees while they are living in a limbo or waiting for their documents to be processed by UNHCR. The next point is recognizing or recognition of refugees' skills. Refugees, just like anyone else, want to work and be self-reliant. We have the skills and qualifications. I know most of you agree. Most of you would agree with that. We have the skills and qualifications to perform a range of work, not only one sort of in one industry, but range of works. Yet we face several barriers to obtain meaningful work in most countries, including in Indonesia. We might have limited understanding of the job opportunities available, inability for our overseas qualifications to be recognized, and sometimes have limited language skills. However, our determination and resilience to find work is unparalleled. We feel empowered when our skills and intellect are recognized and we can engage in the meaningful work. Therefore, it's not possible to achieve these without the support of the local communities and also the NGOs. And the next one would be being aware of their legal and also social context. Once the refugees are aware of their legal and social context, they would find themselves more useful and more motivated. Equality within the communities makes both communities stronger and closer, because we all have the same ambition and the same journey. We need to listen, help, respect, understand what we believe, what we want to, and what are we looking for as one community. I believe empowering refugee community could help reduce a lot of problems and also ease the situation within the local refugee community. And next one, better bonds with the local community. So once we have the good bonds, or we have good relationship with the local community, this could be one of the better ways to help realize the skills, the strengths, and goals as one community, which is to make everything available for everyone living in the area, either regardless of their status of being refugee or local. Once we reach to that stage, our skills could become our strength and our potential, by which we could reach the goals easier and could be more reliable, not only for the refugees, but for the local communities as well. Because we share the same area and live in the same area with the locals. In fact, all our neighbors are locals. So the impact, or any positive, either it is positive or negative impact for the refugee community, would also, if it is possible, would also benefit the local communities. Or if it is negative, then it will also put them on a struggle. So we have that mutual, what you can say, mutual thing in between. So that's why I believe the refugee communities, community empowerment is very important, not only for the refugees, but also for the local communities as well. And next one is, how do refugee-led initiatives or organizations empower refugees, such as HELP? If we talk, HELP is one of the refugee-led initiatives or organizations who work which was established by refugees and for refugees. So we are trying to work with the refugees to empower them more in their daily life. So one of the first points is independency on being the decision makers. RLIs are usually, or RLOs are usually established by refugees and for refugees. When it comes to its management, the way to run, and all the decisions are made by the refugees themselves. They take all the important decisions on how to be effective for the community, which is great, since they are refugees themselves and they definitely understand the important needs of the community. So all the RLOs or RLIs, they empower the refugee community one way or the other, and one of the ways is to give them the sense of independency on taking or making the decisions, which could be way more effective. And the next point is providing information and resources that matters. As I told you, Help for Refugees was established in 2017. So actually the sense behind establishing the Help for Refugees was to be a place for refugees to empower or to be empowered, and also to provide basic education for the kids, and also a space where the skilled refugees could be a mentor and a guide to work with other fellow refugees to develop their skills and liabilities. So we provide all the resources that we have. Either it is by another refugee or using any other resources to provide help and improve the refugee community individuals, or all of them. I could not say all of them, but I just want to use the term here. Those who take part in these RLOs or learning centers. We provide them all the resources that we have in order to make them better at what they are doing, or even developing a new skill. And the next one is help developing their skills. And this is one of the tasks that RLOs or RLIs are doing right now to empower the refugee community. Let's take the example of HELP. At HELP, we provide primary to middle school for the kids, and also English language classes to prepare the refugees for their future once they get resettled, in order to be a positive impact and not totally waste the time here waiting for resettlement. This way the refugees can stay ahead of time and skip months of learning the language once they get resettled. So it is learning a language or being able to speak a language is also considered to be a skill. So this is what we are doing to help them develop new skills. Either it is learning a new language or having another extra activities, or the activities which could help them improve any of their skills. Either it is the management, the managing the daily life decisions or problems, or it is helping them with any other things. Since the establishment of HELP, we have provided over 500. We have provided our services for over 500 refugee kids and young adults from over 12 countries. We also have had workshops on different important topics such as women health. So developing a new skill, or when I said the extra activity, So this could be one of the examples that we not only have, but every refugee-led initiatives or organizations, they try to provide some sort of important workshops, which could be very helpful for the refugee community. And the next point is to be independent and to not rely on NGOs only. By this, what I mean is that refugee-led initiatives provide services for refugees around Indonesia. These initiatives are in order to empower refugees themselves and also tackle some of the daily life problems or issues and not be fully dependent on the NGOs totally. This way we can help ourselves by being productive, healthy, and improve our skills while waiting for resettlement, and at the same time help UNHCR and other humanitarian organizations working for refugees to focus on the long-term solutions. If we, for example, if we have the education system by refugees, which is for refugees, so we are not relying on the UNHCR and other learning NGOs to provide them. So these are the things that we could do, and not only the education, there are other things also which the refugee-led initiatives are doing, which is very helpful and could empower the refugee community in general. So the next point is being responsible for our improvement. All the refugee-led organizations or refugee-led initiatives work to remove those boundaries and improve the refugee skills, language, leadership, and all sort of other important skills which could be helpful now and also in the future. We are working together to improve ourselves and prepare for any situation which we could possibly face in the future. So we are being responsible for any improvement in any refugee individual or refugee community in general, because we are doing all these things and we are not waiting for any of the NGOs or the UNHCR to come and provide us the place where we could learn new skills or learn new languages. And we are doing it ourselves. So this is us being responsible for our own improvement. The next point is providing the services limited by the government. If we take the example of Indonesia, not only Indonesia, I'm sure there are other countries as well who which limits the refugees in certain ways. But considering the Indonesia, there are plenty of services where refugees are limited by the law or the government. So we are trying to at least provide some of those services for our fellows, which could help them prepare for their future. These services are classes for refugee kids, language classes for every refugee, different workshops, which could improve the refugees' knowledge, extra activities such as computer and art classes. These are few of the services which are limited for refugees, and refugees cannot reach, or at least not in most part of it. So all the refugee-led initiatives and refugee-led organizations such as HELP, we are working to cover some of those limited services, which could help the entire community in general. And back again to help for refugees. Help for refugees, again, I would go back to that. Help for refugee was established by refugees and for refugees, which proves that there are a lot of skills and talent among the refugees. If a chance is given, to them, they could be very productive and helpful, not only for the refugees, but also for the local communities. We will keep working to empower refugees to be able and to stand right there with the local communities to improve the world for everyone, and in hope of parallel world for everyone. This is the social media and also the address of help for refugees. And yeah, thank you. I'm done with the with my presentation. Thank you for listening. And I hope I have provided some relevant information. If there are any questions, as Ms. Nazanin said, Ms. Arazu said, sorry, Ms. Arazu said earlier, we will have a Q&A session next. You could ask them. And I really appreciate everyone and also SUAKA for providing this chance for me. Now I would like to give the time for SUAKA team of Ms. Arazu to take the lead. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Abdul Khalik, for introducing yourself and your organization. Thank you for explaining about refugee community empowerment. That's very true that empowering refugee can make their life a bit easier here. Thanks for the presentation. It was great and quite informative. And now it's time, it's Q&A time. Dear participants, please feel free to ask any question from our speakers, or if you have any question from the SUAKA representative, feel free to unmute yourself and ask directly, or you can write it in the chat and I will read it for you. Thank you. Any question?
Hi, I have one.
Yes, please.
So with all of the refugees that are being resettled, and we see that resettlement is happening more and more often, it has been getting harder and harder to find refugee talent at learning organizations and other refugee organizations as well. So according to you guys, how can we address that problem? Can we still be refugee-led when a lot of refugees are leaving?
Okay, the question is from Mr. Abdul Khalik or Mr. Saleh.
I guess either.
Okay, please, Mr. Abdul Khalik, you can.
Sure. Thank you. I hope I got everything. But I believe since most of the refugee-led organization or initiatives that we are saying, all the decision makings are a responsibility of the refugees. So definitely we could still call them refugee-led initiatives or refugee-led organizations, because that is what actually matters. I'm not saying that the other responsibilities or other works does not matter in a refugee-led organizations, but the decision making and the management is one of the things which matters most. So when it is in total control of the refugees, then I would totally be confident to say to call them refugee-led organizations or initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Khalik. Mr. Sholeh, if you would like to add some more.
Yes, I would like to. Good afternoon, all. My name is Michael Shelley. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I am Michael Shelley Michael. Just to ask a question, like our legal criminal lawyer said the other time, on empowerment. Now, a lot of us here in Indonesia who are asylum seekers and refugee here, we are having a lot of problems, a lot of challenges. Is there any way? Most of us have been humiliated by the immigrations and other set of law enforcement. We know they are the government. We cannot teach them their job. Is there any way our legal lawyers will be able to empower anyone? Because they always talk about empowerment. Was there any way they will be able to empower any of us, the paralegal, to be able to be going to immigration office to be rescuing our people? That's number one. Because the system of their working is so slow, which you know yourself. Sometimes when we complain, the person has been detained, but there's no way they are coming off because they have a lot of things tied them down. Is there any way the SUAKA themselves will be able to assign somebody within the paralegals to be going for such a movement in releasing some of our people that have been in detention with their normal documents? Is there any way like that? Two.
Okay.
Number two. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
The second
Can I have my questions after?
Yeah, we can just let our speaker give answer. Okay, Mr. Sholay, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to answer with my organization's perspective. So,
Okay.
if the refugees dealing with Indonesian's law, I mean that maybe in legal empowerment context, in criminal law, or maybe so in the immigration's law, but in the context of the penal, my organization is able to provide legal aid, but I think maybe if it's something about the RSD process, or maybe about the like specific refugees mechanisms here, I think maybe it's more suitable to SUAKA's work. But I've defended two refugees before in the West Jakarta because they've been criminalized using the penal code, and it's against non-involvement maybe, and against the principle in the refugee conventions to punish the refugee, and the Perpres 125 125 that we have here. And it's just that in my organizations, the victims have to report if our organization not being informed that some things maybe like what do we call it? the conditions that really need the lawyers to be actively engaged. So our organization is providing legal aids in terms of if it intersects with domestic law, and maybe the abuse of these government agents, and so we have to get informed. Thank you. But the paralegals, we don't have refugee paralegals. Maybe SUAKA can.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hope you got your answer. Is there any question? Or maybe Brother Angga, if you would like to add some more, or you have any question?
Yeah, thank you, Sister Arizo. I just want to add on the perspectives of SUAKA, since it has been mentioned by Brother Mokaifa in this case, especially in terms of immigration cases. Yeah, so I think these questions would be in a more in a perspective of legal aid matters. So I'll try to in line with the essence of the discussions, which is community empowerment. I'll try to add a perspective from the empowerment of refugees, also in added the informations for the questions asked by Brother Mokaifa. So in brief, in terms of assisting refugees in the detention cases, there are not only for the immigration cases, but also for other types of cases, legal cases happen to the refugee communities. we have to consider everything about the steps that need to be taken in assisting refugees. We do have our resources. We have to consider about the standard of operations of our organizations, and also other considerations that would play it into considerations in assisting refugees in a legal case manner. But we also, on the other hand, we are also have experience in assisting refugees in the emergency cases. I believe one of them is regarding the immigration detention cases, and on some occasions we also advocating for these cases, although as I already shared in the other forum, there are many challenges in advocating for immigration cases. There are many limitations happen, and SUAKA would like to try our best according to all of the considerations, according to all of our resources, and the discussion that going on in the internal organizations. So basically, we also receiving and also assisting refugees in the immigration cases. And in terms of emergency situations, we do then can also assist refugees, but then we have to consider everything on the every aspects in the assistance of legal aid perspectives. And now, in terms of legal empowerment as main topics of the discussions, yeah, I believe that in on the basis of legal empowerment, I think since especially for the community-based refugee paralegals and other community representatives that have been shared about the key points of the legal empowerment. For a close example is from the paralegal training. We then try to discuss and try to convey information about the how to realize the law, and then after you realize about the laws happen, you know about the law, you know about the implementations of the law, and also the human rights applied to the refugees, and also lastly is to use the law. So when you already know the law, when you already realize that in terms of empowerment, you are also have a connections with the legal implementations, especially in Indonesia. Of course, one of the great examples of being empowered is when the refugees itself can advocating for the legal issues happen in the communities. So I think in terms of empowerment, that would be good. And we also have many experiences on which the refugees, whether it is a refugee representatives or maybe refugee community-based refugee paralegals, directly assist refugees in the legal issues matter. So yeah, I would like to also point about the collaborations matter between all parties, since we are talking about the community-based approach. This is also can be conducted in terms of advocating for legal issues, collaborating within all subjects in the community, refugee communities, and also stakeholders between the refugee management, both including with the civil society organizations like SUAKA, and also with the refugee community is also important to then analyze and also to calculate about the empowerment stages of the refugee communities. I hope this would be a great addition to the Makaifa's questions. And yeah, I pass it back again to Sister Arizo. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Angga. Is there any other question?
Question?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Dambele Karim. I am from Refugee Touch Community Charity. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity and privilege. So I thank our brother, Mr. Abdul, for sharing to us what's the meaning of refugee empowerment. And again, I think I feel that form, that link that was sent in the link that sent in the book chat. I fill the form. I've already filled it. So my here is about, my question is going to Mr. Rudini. So Mr. Rudini, I want to urge you to beg you, because the last time you came to Charity Touch, you told us about our the verification code that I'll be putting in the ID card. So I want you to collaborate with the UNHR to see if the verification code can put in UCL, because almost all the we are using UCL, and almost all the complaints that are bringing to SUAKA is almost African. So if there is any way you can talk to UNHR to see if the verification code can be put in UCL, I think that would be very happy for us, so that when immigration catch you, they will be able to detect the code and know whether the paper is free or not.
Okay, thank you so much. I think this question is for you, Brother Angga.
Yeah, I believe the question is for SUAKA, yeah, Brother Dembele.
Yeah.
Again, in the basis of for our topic of the discussions today, which is a community-based approach for legal empowerment, I try to accommodate these questions with an acknowledgement from SUAKA that this would be a great feedback from the refugee communities for the works of SUAKA, especially in case of immigration cases, again, because I believe that this would be in the context of legal aid, Brother Dembele, which is, we can connect the legal aid again with the works of empowerment, community empowerment, but I would like to just on behalf of SUAKA that we would like to note this as a suggestions for us, and also issues happen in the communities. So thank you so much, Brother Dembele. We will discuss that in further discussions after this session, I believe. Thank you. Sister.
Okay, thank you so much. We are almost at the end of our discussion. I would like to ask if Mr. Sholeh, Mr. Abdul Khaliq, and Ms. Atika have a concluding remark or any additional information they wanted to share with the participants. Okay, we will start with Mr. Sholeh, please.
I think, the point that Mr. Abdul make is really important. I want to share about the empowerment process that we conduct in our office and our work, and maybe that's will be really like a difference with refugees situations, and in terms of the groups, the marginalized group, the vulnerable groups that left behind in the Mr. Michael mentioned before, in the process of enforcement of policy, in the government agencies interact with the member of the groups, and I think that's the point that I think quite relevant with the needs of these discussions, that as Mr. Angga mentioned too, that empowerment, we need to really realize that we can, using the power, like in terms of the context of my organization, using the law to advocate for change. With us realizing this, that legal empowerment can advocate for systems. I think that's the key.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sholeh, for the concluding remark. Mr. Abdul Khaliq, would you like to add more?
At the end, I would really appreciate. I would like to really appreciate SUAKA and the team to making it possible to have such discussions on the important topics for the refugee community. It's very great, and I hope that one day we would. Everyone would work together to make it much better for the not only for the refugees but for everyone. And and also thank you for Gifar for his presentation and the knowledge that he is passing through. It's much needed. And yeah, that's all. Also, thank you for being the moderator, and I'm really glad that I got this opportunity to talk here, to present something for everyone. And yeah, that's all. Oh, actually, this is just an information which is not regarding that topic of the discussion. Actually, help is looking for volunteers. If anyone is interested, I can share the link in the chat box. You can submit. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you very
please.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, Miss Atika, or maybe anybody from SUAKA team, Mr. Angga, maybe.
Yeah, I think Sister Atika is already leaving
Yes.
the room because there are some signal problems. So yeah, on behalf of SUAKA, I just would like to thank everyone here for coming of this session, of today's session. I hope not only for the refugee communities attend. I know that some of the refugee members here also managing their own refugee-led organizations. We have brothers and sisters from their respective refugee-led organizations, and we would like to further appreciate and thank you for all of your hard works and also dedications for the refugee communities. Of course, to Sister Arezu and also Brother Abdul, which is also managing their refugee-led organizations. I hope that further understanding about the community-based approach and also the role of the refugee-led organizations can further increase the empowerment of refugees, not only for certain aspects of empowerment. We've discussed about legal empowerment, but also I hope that the further goal is to increase and also widen the perspectives of empowerment to other aspects. It may be about educational empowerment, but and also other aspects of empowerment, but yeah, and the important points about the community-based approach from our side is also to further collaborations within the stakeholders. So I hope these discussions is not the end of the more larger discussions within the stakeholders, between the civil society organizations, between the communities, or even between the government. And I hope from today's discussions can lead into a more further discussions, and also so that the collaborations for the community-based approach will further increase, and the empowerment stages for the refugee communities can also be increased also. Otherwise, thank you so much. And yeah, I'll pass it back to you again, Sister Arezu.
Thank you so much, Brother Angga. In the end, thank you once again, Mr. Shaleh, Mr. Abdul Khalik, for your time and for the great presentation and speech. Also, thank you, SUAKA team, for conducting this type of sessions. Thank you, everybody, for joining today's RISE series discussion. I hope it was helpful and informative, and that you take something useful from this session. Have a great day. Before we end the session, let's take a group photo. Please turn on your camera if it's okay for you. If it's not okay, no problem. Please turn on your cameras.